So, with that, just welcome everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators of the Spokane Sangha. And I am so happy to facilitate our practice today. For the month of February, we have been having these amazing conversations regarding the Lotus Sutra. And this is one of the ancient teachings of the Buddha, and many interpretations and translations over the hundreds and hundreds of years. The translation that I have been using is by Thich Nhat Hanh. I want to show you the name of this book. It's called Peaceful Action, Open Heart by Thich Nhat Hanh. And what I love about this particular, what's the word I want to say about this particular book? It's more like it's rather than a direct interpretation of Pali or Sanskrit, in the Lotus Sutra in particular, Thich Nhat Hanh really takes it and puts it into a narrative in his own words, and he makes it applicable to contemporary life, which I really love. So we've been talking about the Lotus Sutras having three main parts, and they're all interconnected, which is what Thich Nhat Hanh was very famous for having brought forward. And that is the reminder that you and me, just like the Buddha, have a physical body. We're human beings. We're affected by gravity. We're affected by all the things that make us human, just like the Buddha. And we're also this manifestation and embodiment of boundless, limitless, infinite consciousness, just like the Buddha. And one of the things about this ultimate reality is the Buddha and his teachings and his wisdom continues to survive. It continues to live. It has never ceased to be. And so this is a reminder for each of us to remember that there's aspects of you and me that have existed since beginningless time, and there are aspects of you that will carry on long after we are gone. So that's sort of the physical dimension, the ultimate dimension. And then Thich Nhat Hanh brings forward the third aspect of the Lotus Sutra, which is, all of that's a great thing, physical body, ultimate reality. But so what? What are you going to do with that? How is that going to affect the way you show up with your life? How is that going to inspire you to act in a different way, to act with more wisdom, to act aligned with the Noble Eightfold Path, for example? That's the third part. What are your actions? How can you bring this wisdom into a living, breathing action? So yesterday we spoke about I believe it was in the 22nd chapter of the Lotus Sutra, and we were talking about patience. And I was bringing forward a particular bodhisattva. And this bodhisattva's name is Saddha. And Saripattabhutta was known for being the non-despairing, non-disparaging bodhisattva. This is someone of maybe mythic proportion who was ultimately patient. Ultimately patient. And we have that capacity within each of us to be ultimately patient. So that was our practice yesterday. Today we're going to continue to talk about that a little bit, but I'm also going to share with you a reading from today, a little meditation. This is one of my favorite books. It is called Meditations for Women Who Do Too Much. It should actually be meditations for people who do too much, which is all of us, right? And it's written by Ann Wilson Schaaf. And Ann Wilson Schaaf, she was a wonderful psychotherapist, and she did a lot of work in the realm of recovery and support. And so a lot of these particular meditations have to do with the ways that we engage in habit energy. Some people call it addiction. But that habit energy where we just keep doing the same thing over and over again, regardless of the consequences. And so today's talk from her meditation, is all about the cultivation of honesty, which is a quality that one of our beautiful Sangha members brought forward earlier this week as a quality that many of us suffer from and suffer with, particularly when we have engaged in active negative habit energy. And so what we're doing today is pairing the two together. We're going to talk about honesty, and we're going to talk about the bodhisattva that can really help us stay patient as we work with honesty and dishonesty. So with that, let's go ahead and put the body into a posture that feels conducive and receptive for this wisdom. And what I'd like you to do, what I encourage you to do, is maybe break that connection with your computer a wee bit. Maybe turn your body. You can see several people are already turning their body at an angle. Go ahead and do that. Turn your camera off if you like. Remember that if stillness is available to you today, that's beautiful, but that's only one way to meditate. Maybe your meditation is to listen to this offering while you wash your dishes. What a beautiful way to meditate. Maybe you're bringing your body out for a walk as you listen. It's another wonderful way to meditate. Maybe you're a bit hungry and would like to have something to eat. Again, thank you for expressing that as your practice of meditation. Let's take a moment to breathe together as a community. See if your next breath, your next inhalation, you can bring your awareness to the lower part of your diaphragm in the belly, and see if you can watch your belly expand as you inhale. And then hold that posture for a little bit, kind of let everything hang out. And then on your exhalation, go ahead and see if you can contract those abdominal muscles and that diaphragm, and see if you can imagine the air being exhaled from the bottom up and out. And then in your next inhalation, see if you can imagine the air entering into the top part of your lungs, descending all the way down, resting at that belly. I'd like to begin our practice today by bringing forward sort of the interconnectedness of the physical reality that we are all human beings, the ultimate reality that we are also spiritual beings, divine beings, with a reminder to put that pairing into a living action. Never despising, never despairing Bodhisattva Sariputta shows everyone that they have the capacity for perfection within themselves, the capacity to become a Buddha, a fully enlightened one. Now, this is my little insert here. Remember, friends, we can elevate the Buddha to really mythological proportion, making the Buddha holier than thou, unattainable, way out there beyond our grasp. And Thich Nhat Hanh is reminding us that to do so is to engage in folly. The Buddha was just like you and me. The difference is the Buddha devoted himself to understanding the causes and conditions of his own discomfort and misery and confusion and delusion. And then he began to see, oh, just like me, everybody has confusion and delusion and aggression and aversion. And he began to understand those conditions too: greed, hatred, and the like. And the Buddha dedicated himself to cultivating qualities to alleviate and lessen this suffering. And I think the best thing that he did, the thing that separates him from most of us, is he completely believed in his efforts. He had confidence in himself. He took stock of his good qualities and his negative ones, and he invested decades of his life in aspiring to improve upon those good qualities so that they outshined the negative ones. Thich Nhat Hanh writes, the message of the Lotus Sutra is that everyone can and will become a Buddha. Saddha is the ambassador of the Buddha and of the Lotus Sutra, and sometimes ambassadors are reviled or attacked. Saddha was also treated this way. He brought his message to everyone, but not everyone was happy to hear it because they could not believe in their own Buddha nature. This is a very humble reminder, friends, and something that we can put in the context of honesty. Whenever we feel cynical or skeptical, we can remember, oh gosh, this is me doubting my Buddha nature. And rather than beating ourselves up for it, we can just gently and with a friendly curiosity say, wow, would you look at this? Look at this doubt. Look at me doubting my Buddha nature. Sometimes I say to myself, Julia, darling, who do you think you are doubting your Buddha nature, you silly goose? Who are we to doubt our Buddha nature, right? Thich Nhat Hanh writes, the mission of a Dharma teacher, of a bodhisattva, you and me, requires a great deal of love, equanimity, and inclusiveness. Oh, that last one. Inclusiveness. It's a wonderful synonym for equanimity. And what it really points to is we have to grow our capacity to include all the things that drive us crazy, all the things that make us upset, all the things that annoy us and agitate us, all the things that we're groping and grasping to control, all the ways we cling so tightly to stories that say things like, it should be this way, it should be that way, this person should be acting like this, not that. Inclusivity includes all of it. All of it. And we have to have those topsy-turvy moments, otherwise we don't have an opportunity to expand our capacity, which is infuriating sometimes. And this is where honesty comes in, friends. Because when we're cultivating inclusivity, equanimity, we have to be very patient, because allowing and including the things that are aggressive, upsetting, unpleasant, it's really hard to do. And it really activates some of our own qualities that aren't particularly skillful or wise. And then many of us have a propensity to shoot second arrows at ourselves. So we see ourselves behaving unskillfully, and then we get mad at ourselves for being unskillful. And then maybe another arrow we shoot at ourselves is the way we diminish and yell at ourselves. We should know better. I thought I was more spiritual. Just all the shaming techniques that we have learned over the years. Living in this whole new way, living with Saddha. Remember, this bodhisattva's name is Saddha Paribhuta, which means never despairing, heart-led. Saddha is heart-led. To live from the heart is to be able to be honest with ourselves and go, wow, yeah, that wasn't very skillful. That wasn't patient. I have some work to do. But just because I wasn't patient in this moment does not mean I can label myself an impatient person. That is false. It is true that we all encounter situations where we feel impatient, but the whole truth is that we are a complex constellation of patience and impatience, acceptance and intolerance, frustration and ease. And so it is wise that we learn to become more honest about it. Anne Wilson Schaaf writes this about honesty. Part of the purpose of our addictive behavior is to put us out of touch with ourselves. Breathe that in for a moment. When we are engaging negative habit energy, we are putting ourselves out of touch with ourselves. We are out of touch with our Buddha nature. When we are out of touch with ourselves, we cannot possibly be honest with others. We have to know what we think and feel to be honest with others. We have to know what we think and feel to be honest with others. And that is the practice, friends. To be patient with what we're thinking and what we're feeling, to notice when we're feeling agitated and annoyed. And rather than acting from that place, we take a moment, a patient moment to pause. Would you look at all this irritation I'm feeling? Would you look at the way I want to act out with unwise speech? I wonder what that's all about. I wonder why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. I wonder why I'm thinking what I'm thinking. I wonder what good this acting out will do for anyone, including me. If we can take time to pause and wonder in these questions, we are absolutely engaging our Buddha nature, seeking wise intentions and understanding, looking at our actions and efforts, considering our speech, engaging in a whole new way of life with mindful concentration, the Noble Eightfold Path. Amazing. All within each of us, right here, right now. Breathing in. I am of the nature to awaken to the causes and conditions of suffering. Breathing out. I smile to myself, a Buddha to be. Alrighty, friends, I think that's it. Let's go ahead and end our practice with a dedication of merit. Sit nice and tall, friends. Saddha. Saddha means confidence, trust, faith. It is to lead with the heart. In Eastern traditions, there is a very common tradition of putting hands in prayer position at the level of the heart, and then you have a small bow. This is an enactment, a physical enactment of Saddha. Often you hear people say namaste. The universal being, the one universe, the universal light, however you want to interpret that, in me, sees it in you, we bow to that one light. I think today, as you're spending your weekend, noticing all the ways, the limitless nature of Buddha, the limitless nature to awake. Take a moment to bow to it. Angry Buddha, I bow. You see it in someone else, someone acting out. Ooh, just like me, acting out Buddha, I bow. Struggling person, somebody on the street, clearly in active addiction. Ooh, just like me, I bow. Somebody looking lost and anxious, somebody tearful and despairing. We know that, just like me. Despairing, weeping Buddha, I bow. However you are recovering your Buddha nature, it is a holy and sacred journey. May your next steps be gentle, light, full of compassion and self-regard. May you feel the warmth and love of the Sangha. May it support you as you continue to dance the Noble Eightfold Path. To your journey as only you can dance it. Dancing Buddha in you, I bow. Thank you, friends. Namaste.